Gabil was fighting at a distinct disadvantage. Gradim was strong, yes, but even more troublesome was Baraga, who had tapped into his power as a Chimera Knight. This made him notably different from before, his power so great that even the current Gabil couldn't underestimate him. In terms of magicule count alone, Gabil was ahead, as he was when it came to spear skills. But when looking at overall strength, there wasn't such a large gap between them. He was someone Gabil might let beat him if he wasn't careful, but he had two foes to deal with right now. And Gradim was free to attack from any angle he wanted, distracting Gabil from Baraga. And he had something else to worry about. That was Soka, who was fighting one of Gradim's other generals. Nazim the Vermilion Bird appeared to have the strength of a demon lord. She seemed to be of the same race as the demon lord Frey, and Gabil suspected he was a close match in terms of strength as well. Thus, in his judgment, Soka was no match for her. Soka had been strengthened by Gabil's evolution, yes, becoming one of the most capable of upper-level magic born, but she was still just the second in command of a demon lord. She lacked the strength to take on one herself, and victory was pretty hopeless. She was still alive because Nazim was having fun tormenting her, extending her fate. Gabil, aware of this, was anxious to provide some support, but Gradim and Baraga were formidable. "Forgive me, my sister," he said to himself as he kept focusing on them, "but please hold out for me." Then Gabil was hit by another shock. There was a flash of light down on the ground, and at the center of it was Lord Gadora. Lord Gadora. The thought communication didn't work. And that meant just one thing. To make matters worse, he could see a small figure standing up off the ground, Gozaline, one of the three generals, sorely wounded but still safe. Gabil, unable to hide his agitation, was then targeted by a spear attack from Baraga. Come on. If you aren't paying attention to me, you must think you have this one, don't you? Gwahahaha. Of course. You will know that you are no match for me. It was big talk, but Gabil had no time to spare. The odds were against him, and even now, the word retreat was starting to take shape in his mind. But then he received some reinforcements he never could have imagined. "Hey. Looks like you're in trouble. Need a hand." The voice was unexpected, but it belonged to someone Gabil knew well. "Why can't you be honest with yourselves? We asked Milam to transport us because we were worried, you realize. And there was another, the beautiful queen and ruler of the sky. Lord Carillon. Lady Frey. Why are you here?" Carillon laughed at Gabil's surprised question. "That can wait for later, can't it? Let's get rid of these guys first." Frey nodded in agreement. "We're in an alliance, aren't we? It's only natural that we'd send out reinforcements. So we're joining in, and we'll work under Sir Benimer's command." The Beastmaster's warrior alliance serving Carillon numbered less than 100, but each member was an army in themselves. The Heaven Flyers, Frey's close assistants, were the same way warrior-type harpies were a rare sight, but they were still notorious for their well-honed skills. There weren't many of them, but they couldn't have asked for better reinforcements. "I am glad to see you," Gabil said, deciding to accept this rather than fret about it. He sent a message to Benimer for instructions and received an immediate response. "We are having Moss send us an update on your situation over there. Don't let your guard down. Gradim's up to something, to be sure. Keep an eye out for their rank-and-file soldiers." The orders were straightforward, just the main points, no specific instructions on who should take on whom. But Gabil liked it that way. It made him feel trusted, depended on. "Very well. Sir Carillon, I would like you to handle the enemy's main commander here." "Haha. Smart choice there. He's the scourge of every lycanthrope, I'll tell you. I wrote him off as dead long ago, but seeing him alive's the biggest shock I've had all day. Can't wait to put an end to him myself." That was Carillon's intention from the beginning, so he was more than happy with these orders. "And will that bird girl over there be my adversary?" Bird girl would describe you, wouldn't it? Gabil thought. But he wasn't stupid enough not to realize the consequences of saying it out loud. He was still concerned about his sister Soka as well, so Frey's offer was fine with him. Can you do that for me?" he asked, trying to sound like a leader. "Right. I'll be off, then." Frey glanced over to the two twin wings next to her. "You handle the rest for me." "Good luck, Lady Frey." She nodded at them and took flight for Nazim, the Vermilion Bird, who was continuing her beating of Soka, until she noticed Frey coming. "Frey. I am the true queen. And today I shall make amends for our long-standing grudge." Unbeknownst to Frey herself, Nazim was her twin sister. A mutant born with great powers, she was unfortunately sterile, unable to reproduce, and in the female-dominated society of the Harpies, a queen who cannot bear children was simply unacceptable. It wasn't Nazim's fault at all, but she was disqualified from the moment she was born, and what's worse, the queen at the time opted to expel her from the land, fearing she'd be a harbinger of future calamity. So, while wandering the land, Nazim was picked up by Gradim, and before long, her anger and hatred toward her own people began to grow. And now the symbol of that anger, Frey, was right in front of her. With an odd feeling mixture of joy and resentment, she flew up to intercept her. Well, Carillon casually said as he watched from a distance. Let's get started over here. Gradim gritted his teeth. Don't look down on me, you bastard. Looks like Frey's dealing with her own flesh and blood, huh? Guess that's fate at work. If we hadn't come to help out, I never would have had this opportunity, eh? Opportunity. Yeah. The chance to kill you and prove once and for all that I am the strongest beastman. The hell you will. That's my job. Carillon and Gradim had quite similar personalities and ways of speaking. They possessed fierce tempers, and in a way, even the world wasn't big enough for the both of them. Carillon was right, this battle was driven by fate. Let's go. Come to me. I'll show you the difference between us. Invoking his unique skill Royal Beast, Carillon attained his true form as Beastmaster, fully armored, and ready to go all out from the start. Gradim, meanwhile, held the power of the White Tiger, which he hadn't even broken out against Gabil. This solitary tiger, clad in the Empire's military uniform, was ready to intercept the would-be king of the beasts. There were now two sets of combatants on the battlefield clashing mightily against each other. Gabil was now confirming that the new reinforcements were moving in accordance with Benemer's instructions. It all went very smoothly. Much like Team Kurenai and Team Hiryu, they were all under the command of Dolph, leader of the Heavenly Regiment. More detailed orders were given at certain key points, but Benemer had decided it was better to leave most of that work to officers on the ground. Gabil, for his part, supported this decision. He imagined that, much like himself, Benemer would be busy fighting the enemy's top leadership. And it looked like this was the right decision to make. Although each individual member of the Empire's Magical Beast Division fought at a high level, their maneuvers as a group weren't all that praiseworthy. Despite being outnumbered, the Allied forces were able to maintain their front lines through skillful coordination. Even so, there was no denying their disadvantage. The reinforcements were thus more than welcome, and now they were about to stage a counterattack. Alright. Things seem to be going well. Sokka's back to healing herself, and I need to do my best as well. Distracted with me in front of you? Not a good idea. Gabil, watching the battlefield, was threatened with a spear attack once more. Baraga was his opponent. Gradim had left with Carillon, but the battle with Baraga was still going. Gwahahaha. We are under orders from our commander. I'm afraid I can't focus strictly on you right now. Then you sorely underestimate me. And that wouldn't be the other way around. If Gradim had tackled us seriously from the start, after all, I'm not sure I would still be here. The Great Beast King doesn't need to treat the likes of you seriously. Gabil shook his head, exasperated. And that is what letting your guard down means. It is said that a lion expends his full effort to catch even so much as a rabbit. And in a world where might makes right, it's only polite to give your all against whoever you go up against, isn't it? He flashed a brazen smile. But despite his words, the thought of his friends flashed into his mind. Quite a few of them, he thought, didn't expend their full effort against their enemies at all, Diablo chief among them. Gabil would occasionally challenge him to a training battle, only to get beaten by a pulp without so much as a serious effort from him. Well, there's an exception to every rule. Besides, if he really tried against me, it'd be over in an instant. I have no right to complain. We may have the same position, but there's just so much of a difference between us. That's the sad reality of it. Rimuru, at least, acknowledged his talents enough to put him among the 12 lordly guardians. Gabil was proud of that, but he also knew where he was in the pecking order. Awakening and becoming stronger helped him better realize the strength of Diablo and the other demons. Even the 3 demonesses who didn't get evolved at the victory celebration were far more powerful than Gabil currently, and if so, the stronger, and now evolved, Diablo must be up to unimaginable heights. He could never beat him, and he was alright with that, but if he gave up on improving himself now, it really would be the end. No, as long as he could keep chasing after him, it didn't matter if he couldn't win right now. Such were Gabil's thoughts, as he strove to keep his ambition to improve. Being that way, he knew what true strength was, and although it was still just imagination on his part, he instinctively understood that true strength wasn't what the likes of Gradim and Baraga had. Thus I shall never be defeated. Nonsense. Your army is already doomed to failure. You owe us a great debt for allowing you to die before you witness the true hell that awaits you. Baraga sharpened his attack. Gabil carefully parried it. Are you talking about the transformation of your soldiers? I'd like to know what they did, exactly. The moment Gabil pointed it out, Baraga slowed down. He stared at Gabil, looking a bit perturbed. Oh, you notice. Of course I did. We have a very talented commander. Well, you're still too late. The order has been given and all that's left for you is to die in despair. As proof, Baraga pointed out the now fully recovered Gozaline. Very impressive healing. But anyone with our strength would be capable of that, no? Gabil had noticed that Gozaline was back in good shape. That much wasn't surprising. But Baraga still gave him a bold smile. No, not Gozaline. Around her. A chill ran down Gabil's spine. There he saw a pile of fallen Imperial soldiers. Why was Baraga proudly pointing them out? He couldn't understand. And besides, actually, when did these soldiers die? The enemy boasted high numbers, so he didn't give it much thought before, but this was a truly extraordinary number of dead. Looking closer, he realized that many enemy troops were leaving the front lines and going back down to the ground. Tracing their paths, he found that a large number of them were all but helpless, coughing up blood or collapsing on the spot. Wow. Did you notice? They're just dying on their own. That's right. Sir Gradim has made his decision. They shall all now face a great trial. Baraga gave Gabil a loud, hearty laugh. The maniacal laughter echoed across the battlefield, chilling the hearts of all who heard it. And Gabil, too, was horrified by what he saw. Now, he realized, something terrible was happening.